Doing it up proper. Next week, I'm going to have to swing by Total Wine and grab us some peanut butter whiskey to replace this bottle of BSB when it's done.
This BSB is not as good as when it was made by
The OG's
yeah,
Heritage.
not as good.
No.
It's perfectly fine, but
All right. So I wanted to. This one's kind of fun because a little background people for you people just joining us.
okay.
This is always the Let Me Ask You This is always like a last minute thing that happens, right?
Yes.
And basically neither of us were totally prepared for this, so I just reached into my notes, and I think this will dovetail relatively well with some of the stuff we're going to talk about in part 2 of 4, actually. I've talked a lot before about the uninformed voter.
Okay.
And I think we've seen a lot of these, a lot of the takes that have been coming out since the 2A decision, since the Roe decision, where there's a lot of people making takes that are obviously ill-informed or none at all.
Yes.
So, that being said, how much sympathy do you have towards somebody that lives their whole life never fully realizing that they've been ill-informed until they got like stomped in the dick by something like a Roe decision?
If you don't realize that you're ill-informed, then I do have a level of sympathy for you. If you recognize that there is more information to be had and you're just choosing to only consume surface-level information, there's some people who keep their hands off. They really don't know how easy it is to get into it. There are other people who have talked about that I believe fit in the same category of uninformed voters that get all of their information off of like Instagram posts that are 9 or 10 posts long, and they just share all of these things and assume that that's the full story of whatever 50, 60, 100, 200-year-old political issue, American political issue they're trying to describe. Those people I have very little sympathy for. It's only maddening at that point because I know exactly how simple it is to find that information. And then if you just type in the text of one of those Instagram slides, you would find better information than that is providing to you.
That's true.
So, yeah. So the people like that, like I said, of the Instagram post world, very little sympathy for that. If you're hustling, you don't really know what's going on, you just don't realize, and then one day you have less rights, I have a little bit of sympathy for you because you're trying to hustle, you're just trying to get your shit together, you know? Mm-hmm. But
that makes sense.
if you believe that you're political, but you're really surface level political, I got very little sympathy for you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really decent stance right there because it seems very, very fair. I find myself growing more and more, what's the word, impatient and uncaring about people that are due to, I don't like politics, I don't pay attention, you know, I just live my life, but then all of a sudden I have a very strong opinion about something.
Right.
These takes are becoming more and more popular because, I mean, politics, if you will, the colloquial term politics is everyday life. And it is, ever since COVID especially, it's becoming more and more in everybody's face. It's so much more opaque now that everybody feels like they need to have opinions, they need to get involved, they need to have their own stance on things, but they've never done anything to make up for the last 20 plus years of their life,
right,
not knowing and understanding things when, like you said before, it literally is as easy as, you know, going to source material, reading an opinion versus reading the ABC articles that come out after it does. I mean,
right.
It's really not that difficult for people to do. And if the more and more people that just kind of push it off as something that they don't want to get involved in, you need to understand that if you're saying that, you're also kind of checking out of the conversations that societies are having as a whole and which directions they want to go.
Right.
Like if you're just going to be an innocent bystander in this, you need to understand what that comes with.
Yeah.
And it's been really bothering me lately. I don't remember what it was this week that I wrote it down, but I know it was from this over the last 2 weeks because it was just in my random note pile. But yeah, I saw that question last night. I was going through some things. I was like, I got to work this in somewhere today. So I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't really have something worked out for Let Me Ask You This, because I was like, hey, I got something that'll work perfect.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And we talked on last episode, like my article from last month, and then I'll hit that. But my article from last month was about the firearms debate, you know, especially around the Uvalde shooting and stuff like that. And at the end, I was just my ending stance was, if you don't know what you're talking about, I'm asking for you to just remove yourself from the conversation. I'm not telling you don't have a right to talk about it, because everyone has a right to free speech. Everyone has a right to say whatever they want. I'm asking you. I'm telling you, if you don't know and you don't want to know, if you don't want to understand, it's incumbent upon you to remove yourself from this discussion, because you're not adding to it anymore. You're only taking away from it by saying surface level things, by just adding the regular shit that everybody says. If you're just going to come to the discussion about guns and say to me, how many children have to die? I don't even want you here. I don't want you in this discussion, because you're operating under the assumption that I don't care that children are dying. I have 2 children of my own. Of course I care that children are dying. Don't be fucking ridiculous. Let's have an actual discussion about what I'm telling you is a natural born right to self-defense. Let's have a real discussion about this. And now you talking about some fucking kids, right? That's not a real discussion. That isn't real. So I think the waning of patience on some of these issues is very understandable, you know, especially when they cut to like core rights and not just things that we like to enjoy, you know, people's right to choice, whether it's what you want to consume for yourself or, you know what I'm saying, your right to self-defense, things like that. They're deep issues that you can't be surface level about if you want to have an actual discussion about it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good take on that. It's strange times, man. I don't... What's happened over the last week, we'll just say, as far as rulings and reactions to coming from the federal government, from the president himself, from various people, it does not fill me with hope that our elected representatives understand that they're a part of a republic.
No.
And that to me is just, that's another nail in that coffin of, I don't know how many more nails we got to put in this coffin. The republic is dead, buddy.
Get out of it.
All right, it's over. They're just trying to make sure this thing gets sealed away like the fucking mummy. Brendan Fraser can't come pop the top and free up that way. Imhotep. That's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah,
I think it's back on. I put it on the background last weekend, and I think it was on like Hulu or something. But they have like all 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah,
they're streaming out there. So if you're a fan of like that '90s action flick, dude, get out there, get you some Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Rachel Weisz. Yeah, like librarian style smoke show. Yes, right.
100%.
That's the way I have to equate it.
90s style, like super tiny too.
Oh yeah, she's tiny,
and I'm not even like always into that.
She's just small,
but there's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely
I'm
good
here for
movie.
it. God, thank you. What a good way to start. I want to remind everyone before we continue to obviously go ahead and check out. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube. Leave us a like, a comment, share this with your friends. Tell them that we got going on here, and obviously check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Patreon. Go there, subscribe, help us make more better content. All of this is at Salt of the Streets. We also have our personal social media. I'm at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both of those things. I promise I'm not drunk yet.
I am a big bird.
You can find all this at saltofthestreets.com. It's a beautiful time. We are working on redesigning that website.
Indeed.
But go there, check out. You can find all the old episodes, all everything like that. So it is fantastic. With that...
And also, let me add this.
Yes.
The more people that subscribe to our Patreon and throw a few dollars our way, the quickest and the more badass we can make that website, BT Dubs.
That's right. We have the beer show came out yesterday.
Indeed.
What was the beer that you had this week?
It was the Rainy Days Hefeweizen.
There it is.
Just a plain Jane regular wheat beer. Nice little citrus notes to it.
Yes.
Very, very drinkable. 4.5%.
There it is.
Nice, smooth, chilling drink.
It
was what I was drinking after work yesterday
Yeah.
while I was doing show prep. I was like, I'm just going to grab a crowler of this bad boy and just take it home. We're going to do a show on this.
You're going to start getting into beers in segment 2, part 2. We're going to start with this shot here. We also have the newsletters that come out at the end of the month, the review preview that comes at the first day of the month for the book club. We just recorded that right before this.
Woo! So
we got the new review preview coming out on the 1st. Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins is the June book, and the July book is 1776 by David McCullough.
Yeah.
So look at that. David Goggins, David McCullough. I didn't even think about that. That's really funny. So
yeah, so it looks like next Friday is the 1st.
There you go. Next Friday, review preview coming out.
Boom.
And I decided, because we got all 4 people that we fuck with, I'm going to start picking one person apart. Is what I'm going to do.
Ooh.
So the first one, you want to watch some video games, go check out Lexi Kyle on Twitch. She's live all the time. She's been streaming a lot lately. I'm a generic beer man, like my High Life. There it is.
There it is.
Who doesn't love a good old fucking Miller High Life? I'm here for it.
Isn't that champagne of beers right there? Or is that... I thought Miller High Life was champagne of beers.
That is...
or is it Michelob Ultra?
No, I thought... What is it? There's... a special type of Budweiser that's like it's like Budweiser. All I can think is the word cafeteria. That's not it, because it's like classy. You know what I'm saying?
Damn it! I did not want to look this up, but I'm going to.
Yeah,
For
this-
some
yeah,
reason,
yeah.
I need to know what the colloquial champagne of beers is.
Yeah.
Welcome to the south of the streets, coming at you